Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode 5 of the CFO Leadership Program sponsored by Hub of Finance Transformation. Today, we have with us Dr. Prashanth Southekal. Uh, Prashanth helps companies leverage data and technology for improved customer intimacy, cash flow, and profitability. He is the founder of DBP Institute, a data and analytics consulting, research, and education firm. He has consulted over 80 organizations, including P&G, General Electric, Shell, Apple, FedEx, and SAP. He has also trained over 3,500 professionals worldwide in data analytics. He is also the author of 3 books on data analytics, Data for Business Performance, Analytics Best Practices, which is one of the number one ranked books in the subject, and a very recently released book on data quality. So welcome, Prashant. I'm honored to have you on this show.
Yeah, thanks, Asif. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you and with the people at Hoft. Sorry.
Yes. Before we move ahead, I wanted you to give a brief background about yourself for our viewers, and also maybe talk a little about your new book, which is Data Quality.
Sure. Yeah. So again, as Asif said, my name is Prashanth Southekal. I'm based in Calgary, Canada. I'm the founder and managing principal of DBP Institute, which is a data analytics consulting, research, and education firm. Basically, we help companies get value out of data, be it on the scale, be it on the speed, so on and so forth. So far, we have consulted over 80 different companies, or I have consulted over 80 different companies, including the big ones such as P&G, Apple, and so on. But at the same time, very small companies as well. But overall, the problem has been the same. How do we get value out of data and analytics? So that's the first part of the work which I do. The second part of the work which I do is teach. I have always seen that education is the biggest enabler for change. And in other words, even consulting is also teaching. It's also helping, is also educating your clients so that they are more successful in their work. So I see consulting or training is all part of education. So far, I've consulted about 3,500 people worldwide from Australia all the way to US, Canada on data analytics. And this is where I come into the picture for the CFO leadership program as well, where I help the finance leaders with helping them understand the value of data analytics and implement them in their organization. The third thing which I do is research, helping companies research or improve their messaging, especially the startup and the early stage companies, so that they are able to better take their products and services to the market. So along with that, I've written these 3 books behind me. Mm-hmm. The latest one is on data quality, which is published by Wiley, where I talk about 16 reasons why companies have got challenges with data quality and 10 solutions on what they can do to proactively address those and sustain those data quality initiatives. It just got published last month, and the first month sales have been very good. So please check it out in all the online stores as well as the physical stores worldwide. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure you will like it.
Definitely, and sounds a very interesting topic. The ones you mentioned on data quality. So we will put a link wherever this video is uploaded or the post is uploaded. So we will make sure that we have a link to your books as well.
Sure.
So
thanks,
before we go ahead, before we go inside more details about data analytics, I'll give a quick overview of today's session. So what we will cover is what is data analytics for people who are watching. Then we'll talk about different types of data analytics, and finally how they can learn about data analytics, which is through the Next Generation CFO Leadership Program. So this is what we will be covering in brief. So before we get into the details, can you let our viewers know what exactly is data analytics according to you?
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting question, Asif, given that there are so many definitions of data analytics. But I just want to give you a quick context about why we have so many definitions before I come up with my definition of data analytics. Mm-hmm. The reason is it all depends on the stakeholder perspectives and the technological landscape. Say if you talk to people in the finance who are traditionally centered around reporting and regulations, their view of data analytics is more centered around reporting. Whereas if you talk to people in marketing, their definition of data analytics is centered about how do we serve the customers better. Nothing wrong with that. It all depends on what's your value proposition and what's your need. On the other hand, if you talk to people in oil and gas, their definition of data analytics is centered around data capture, which is more about digitization. On the other hand, if you talk to people in retail and CPG, their definition of data analytics is more about insights. How do I generate insights from the tons of data which I've captured and use it to make better decisions, improve performance, and so on and so forth. It doesn't mean that oil and gas companies are not interested in insights. They are also interested, but I'm just talking about the focus. The focus is more on digitization compared to insight derivation, and vice versa too in the retail world. On the other hand, if you look at the tech companies, for example, when I worked in SAP was selling more than 200 different products, from ERP to CRM to GRC to BW and everything. So their definition of analytics is pretty much everything they sell. Whereas if you talk to Tableau and Power BI, their definition of analytics is more about reporting. They don't talk about data capture, ERP, and all those things. So the definition is it all depends on with whom you talk, which stakeholder proposition, and all those things. So it's very complex, and nothing wrong with those definitions. It all depends on where they're coming from. So my definition of data analytics, which I've written in my second book, Analytics Best Practices, is like overall. It's like addressing the needs of everybody. So what I say is, data analytics is all about asking questions to derive insights, to make the right decision, to proactively measure and improve business performance. So the key thing in data analytics is about questions. If you don't have the questions, you are not going very far in data analytics. So when I go to my consulting project, the first thing they ask is, hey, Prashanth, should we go to the cloud? Should we hire a Python developer and all those things? I say that's all important, but not now. The first thing that matters is what are the questions for which you're seeking answers for? And these questions are coming from your KPIs. So if you don't have the KPIs and if you don't have the questions related to the KPIs, you are not going very far with the data analytics. So I tell my clients, give me those two information, then we'll figure out the rest of the things. So analytics is centered around asking questions to gain insights. The objective is to make better decisions, to proactively measure and improve performance. That's my definition of data analytics.
Nice. So I can pick up a couple of things, which is asking questions is the most important thing. And then based on the question that you have framed, using data to answer that question to make decisions. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Now let's move on to the different types of data analysis. When we were in the class, we had seen data analytics continuum from Gartner. So maybe we can go deep into what are the different types of data analytics.
Yeah, sure, Asif. So the way I look at data analytics is a little bit different from the way many other people look at data analytics. In many places, they equate data analytics to data science. So I'm not disputing it, but equating data analytics to data science is an incomplete picture. So I look at data analytics as 4 key building blocks. Number 1, data capture. You need to capture the data, whether it's structured or unstructured. That's the first step of data analytics. Number 2 is data integration. In any company, whether it's even a small company, the data is not there in one system, in one format. It's there in Excel spreadsheets, it's there in ERP systems, it's there in accounting, so on and so forth. So often you integrate data from multiple systems with one common system to derive insights. So the second step in data analytics is data integration. In my experience, the first 2 steps, data capture and data integration, takes about 80% of the work in analytics. The third step is data science, where once you have good quality data, you run your statistical models, whether it's t-test, whether it's regression, whether it could be even outlier analysis, or whatever those statistical techniques are. You run your statistical techniques on the data which you have integrated in step number 2 and derive insights. But if you have good quality data, which I have discussed in my third book, deriving those insights is pretty straightforward. Even a high school kid can do it. But the challenge is getting good quality data. That's what the companies have in most of the places. And then once you have insights, the fourth step is converting those insights into decisions. That's what I said in my definition. The fourth step of data analytics is about decision science. So when I talk about data analytics, I don't just talk about the statistical models. I talk about all the 4 stages: data capture, data integration, data science, as well as decision science, so that my students or the participants in my class get a good understanding of data analytics. So that's my philosophy of data analytics. Now coming to your question on the types of analytics, I go with 3 major types of analytics. First one is descriptive analytics, which is about what happened. Number 2, predictive analytics, which is what will happen. And prescriptive analytics, what are the factors that will cause a particular event to happen. For example, let's take, we have 2 people. We have Bob, who is the data scientist, and we have Nancy, who is the CFO. Nancy goes to Bob and says, hey, Bob, how much money we made in 2021? So Bob says, okay, let me go to my ERP system. And since Nancy asked what happened, this is descriptive analytics. Let me go and pull the data and give the numbers. He goes to Nancy and says, Nancy, in 2021, we made $350 million. So Nancy says, thanks, Bob. I have one more question for you. Remember, analytics is all about questions. Nancy says, I have one more question for you. What is that? Assuming that the business conditions remain the same in 2021, 2022, and 2023, can you tell me what will be our revenue in 2023? So Bob says, let me go back and analyze this question. Nancy asked me, what will be the revenue in 2023? This is predictive analytics. Let me run some time series models. Let me run some regression models, and I'll go to Nancy and give the answer. He does all this work, goes back to Nancy after 2 hours and says, hey, Nancy, assuming the business condition remained the same in 2021 and 2023, we are going to make $375 million. Nancy looks disappointed. Nancy says, hey, Bob, the CEO tells me that our revenue should be $400 million. Can you tell me what are the factors that will help me get $400 million? So Bob says, hey, Nancy, this is prescriptive analytics. The third part of analytics, let me go back to my desk and do some optimization model, sensitivity analysis, scenario planning, and everything. I'll come back to you in a few minutes. He goes back to Nancy and says, hey, Nancy, if you have to make $400 million in 2023, there are two variables or two factors which will help you get this. Number one, volume. Number two, price. So manage these two things, you'll be able to get $400 million. So this is prescriptive analytics. What is a course of action which I need to take to make it happen? So if you look at the whole conversation, if you look at the whole discussion that's happening between Bob and Nancy, analytics is basically a conversation. The more questions you have, the more answers you get, and based on the answers, the more questions which you have, so that you can derive more meaningful or deeper insights. So it's about give and take. It's about a conversation that's happening between an insight producer, in our case it is Bob, and an insight consumer, who is Nancy.
Wonderful. So we covered the steps in data analytics, which is data capture, integration, which takes 80% of the effort and time. And then comes data science. And finally, we use that data to make decisions. And you wonderfully covered the different types of analytics, from descriptive to diagnostic to prescriptive, using the example. Thank you so much. Now, let's talk about how can people learn about data analytics. So people who are watching this, if they want to learn more about data analytics, we have a program called as the Next Generation CFO Leadership Program, which is for senior finance folks who are looking to transition into CFO roles and senior finance leadership roles. So this program covers different modules. One of the modules is data analytics. Apart from data analytics, it also covers a module on strategic finance. It also covers a module on leadership, finance leadership. It also covers finance business partnering and integrated business reporting. So these are some of the modules which the program covers, and data analytics is one part of the program. So if somebody is interested in enrolling for the program, can you share what can they learn? What will be the outcome of the data analytics module if they ask you?
Sure. Okay. So Asif, in this program, what I generally cover is take them to the three types of analytics and talk about all the techniques, including the data capture, data integration, to make things happen. Which is I look at the techniques related to descriptive analytics, which again I've broken down into three parts: exploratory descriptive analytics, associative, and inferential. Then we look at the predictive analytics, which is again I break it down into two parts, which is analyst-driven predictive analytics and ML. ML is pretty much automated, but I just quickly run through the building blocks of ML so that people know about how ML works and so on and so forth, or how to make ML work. And the third thing is about prescriptive analytics, which is about optimization, scenario planning, and sensitivity analysis. So this is what I cover. So pretty much all the exercises are done through Microsoft Excel. I'll be asking a few people to download a couple of add-ins, which is from the Microsoft Store. No issues with security or anything. It's just from the Microsoft Office package itself. No IT support is needed. And no IT approval is also needed. It's all part of the Microsoft package. You just have to activate it in your PC to make it happen. So this is what I teach. But at the end stage, you ask the next thing: what will they get? Or what is the key takeaways from this course? So basically, three takeaways. The first thing is people who take my course. In fact, almost 3,500 people have taken this course. So it's not my first rodeo. I've done this a couple of times, or many times in the last 7-8 years. So the people who take this course typically get three things. Number one, they will understand. They will be able to identify opportunities and use cases for data analytics. What data analytics can do, what data analytics cannot do. That's number one. Next, number two, they'll be able to better understand or improve the adoption of data and IT systems in the company. Data analytics, all said and done, is very much technology centric. So people will also understand how to adopt this. Once you derive this insight, how do I make it work in the company? So I'll talk about all those things to improve the adoption of data analytics in the companies. And lastly, they will learn technical skills and competencies to be a better professional, whether they are moving from accounting to FP&A, or within FP&A, if they want to enhance their skills, they can take this course. So these are the three major outcomes. Number one, opportunities and use cases. Next, number two, adoption of data analytics in their companies. And next, number three, at an individual level, improve their technical skills and competencies.
Got it. And I have experienced this in the course. So we did a lot of examples using Excel, and I was amazed how much Excel can do in terms of data analytics.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So there's a lot of, so people will be stunned with the kind of capabilities which I show in the class about what Excel can do. Like people think that Excel is just for adding and subtracting. True, but you can see the power of Excel when we activate a couple of add-ins in the course, and what all you can achieve with Excel. So of course, R and Python have their own strengths and capabilities, but Excel is also Excel is also very good.
Yes. And I also wanted to share this, that it's not that you will have to do a lot of coding or something like that. It will be all very practical, which finance people can understand. And at the end, it will make you a better communicator with the data science team in your organization. So you will understand
Yeah,
what the data
absolutely.
science
Yeah.
science
So
team is
overall,
working
as
on.
if what I teach in the class is what I see in the field. What I talk to my clients and prospects, what are the challenges they have? I bring this to the same class, of course, hiding all their names and data. I give the same. I talk the same thing. So it's like very real or very relevant. What is being spoken today is not some theoretical thing where I Google something and I say, oh, Facebook did this or Uber did this. So it's all about my experience and my stories.
Yeah, very, very practical and very real life scenarios that we cover. Now, we are on time, and before we wrap up, are there any? Maybe I can ask you what are some opportunities and challenges you see for data analytics with finance? So, finance people learning data analytics, what are some of the challenges that you foresee, and some of the opportunities that are available? And then
Yeah, sure.
maybe you can share your closing remarks.
Yeah. So, in my experience, when I talk to most of the projects which I do is for the CFO function, because that's where we do the consulting work, working closely with the CFO. But today, what I have seen in the last few years, the CFO function is under increased pressure, not just on reporting and costing, but also on revenue management, revenue intelligence, risk management, basically anything to provide value. And where is this value coming from? One of the things the value can come from is from three major areas, and that's where data analytics stroke AI or artificial intelligence comes into the picture. Number one, it's about automating some kind of a manual, repetitive, and low value end processes. That's one area where technology and AI can help, including data analytics. Next, number two is deriving insights. Companies are capturing tons and tons of data these days. It is humanly not possible for the mind to comprehend it and analyze it manually. So you need tools and techniques to process massive amounts of data. So people have to learn the right techniques to work on this data, and that's where data analytics comes into the picture. And third one is about decision science, how to make decisions quickly using data. So this is where the finance world, including FP&A, is moving towards these three major areas. Number one, how do you automate some manual processes, manual, repetitive, low-end processes? Next, number two, how do you derive insights, reliable, accurate, and timely insights? That's number two. And next, number three, how do you make the decisions quickly so that you can proactively improve and measure business performance? So this is where I go, and this is where the value of data analytics is for the finance professional. And of course, the opportunities too. So if you don't capitalize on these opportunities, you will be left behind, and there will be and your career will be stagnated and affected.
Yeah, I agree. Without understanding data science and data analytics, you'll be almost handicapped as a finance professional. You need to at least understand what the other people are working on in your organization. You are interacting with them,
So
and I agree.
overall, Asif, today every company is a data company. Whether
Yeah,
you are an accountant or a finance or a CFO or a finance manager or an engineer or a teacher or a physician, everybody today works with data. The lines are getting blurred. Like for example, Expedia. Do you call Expedia a travel company or a tech company? So do you call Amazon as an e-commerce company or a tech company? It's very difficult. Technology has blurred the lines, and that's what is going to happen. Every company is going to be a data company. So whether you might overall, you will be working with data going forward, and this thing will increase further in the next few years.
yeah, I agree. Earlier people adopt and learn about it. It'll help them progress in their careers much
Yeah,
faster.
you bet. Yeah,
So thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope we will meet again soon. And for people who want to check out Prashanth's book, we will have links in the comments, and also the links to check out the Next Generation CFO Leadership Program if you wish to enroll in the next batch, which is starting in April 2023. Thank you so much, Prashanth, and it was a wonderful conversation. Hope we will meet again soon.
yeah. Thanks, Asif. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Bye bye.